Hi everyone, today I am going to tell you a short story from Mahabharata, and the name of the story is the war between Pitamaha Bhishma and Lord Parshuram. So let me begin the story. This one is a unique story, so please watch it. King Duryodhan again and again asked to Pitamaha Bhishma, "O Pitamaha, why you are not fighting against Shikhandi? Why you are not killing him?" Then Pitamaha Bhishma said, "O son Duryodhan, anything may happen. I may give up my life, but I will not fight with Shikhandi." Then King Duryodhan became very curious and he asked, Why Pitamaha? Why you cannot fight? Why you cannot kill him? Tell me the reason behind it. Then Pitamaha Bhishma said, "Well, O son, if you are so curious to know, then listen to me carefully. O son, when Vichitrabirja was in marriageable age, with the permission of my mother Satyavati, I went to the Swayamvar of Kashi princess. There, forcibly, I took away all the three princes, Amba, Ambalika and Ambika, in my chariot, and I challenged all the princes that if anyone can save these princes, save them. But unfortunately, nobody could win over me, and at last I brought them to Hastinapur. Thus, Vichitrabirja got married to Ambika and Ambalika. At that time, Amba told me, "O Pitamaha, O Lord, I have already decided to marry Salya. So, once I had given my heart to someone, I don't want to marry the other person." Then with due respect and courtesy and with some beautiful maids, I sent her, means to Amba, to King Salya. But since she was forcibly taken by me, King Salya flatly refused to accept her. He told her, "O Amba, you are already, that time you were already taken away by Pitamaha Bhishma. You go back to him. I am not going to marry you." Thus Amba came back to me, and she was very much filled with sorrow and told me everything and about the refusal of Shalya also. But I told her, "O princess, I cannot do anything because Vichitrabirja is not ready to marry you, and I have taken a vow not to marry. So, what can I do for you? Better you should go back to your father." Thus, when Amba was refused by King Salya and by Bhishma also, she went to the forest. There she met few ascetics. She was crying bitterly, and she promised to do hard penances. Looking at her penances, then the ascetics, they asked her the reason, what was she was doing all these things. Then she told them about me and King Salya. Then one of the ascetic, who was her mother's father, he advised her that, "O Amba, let us go to Lord Parshuram, and if he says something to Pitamaha Bhishma, he may agree." Thus Amba went to Lord Parshuram. Parshuram greeted her nicely, and when he asked, Amba told him everything. Then Lord Parshuram said, "O divine lady, do not worry. I will ask Bhishma to agree. because he is my disciple. Thus, Parshuram came with Amba and requested me to accept her. But I told him, O preceptor, O Gurudev, you know my promise. Being a Kshatriya, at no cost I am going to break my promise. Then he got furious. He then said, O Bhishma, O son of Ganga, you know that I am your Gurudev, and do not let this girl to spoil her life. Accept her. When after saying repeatedly I refused, he got very angry. Then he said, O Bhishma, then come and meet me in the battlefield. I will slay you there. Then smilingly I said, O Gurudev, you have taught me 4 arms, and if you are so desirous to fight with me, then let us meet in the Kurukshetra battlefield. Thus we both went there, and then the battle between us started on the next day. When I was ready to fight with him, that time, first I went with my white, beautiful chariot, and I saw that he stood, Lord Parshuram stood there on the ground. Then I said, O Lord, O Gurudev, you are on the ground. How can I fight with you? Take a chariot. Then he laughed aloud and said, O Bhishma, this earth is my chariot. This, the Vedas are my horses. And all the Vedas like Savitri, Gayatri and Saraswati, they are my coat-mail, and the wind is my charioteer. Do not worry, come, let us fight. And within a moment, he created a beautiful divine chariot and horses and bow and arrow and everything. He was that type a powerful Brahmin. And then, when we were ready to fight, that time my mother came and told me, means Mother Ganga, she told me, O Bhishma, do not fight with your preceptor. He is a Brahmin, he is your Gurudev. But I said, O Mother, I have taken a vow that if anybody will challenge, I have to fight. Thus my mother kept quiet, and when I saw that I was surrounded by the 3 shots, first began by my Gurudev, means Lord Parshuram. Then I moved forward and stopped my chariot. I got down from the chariot and came close to Lord Parshuram. There I bowed down my head on his feet and said, O Gurudev, bless me and bless me to get victory. Then Lord Parshuram said, O Bhishma, if you would not have come to me before starting the war, then I would have cursed you. But now I am extremely pleased with your conduct. But I cannot say you to get victory, since I myself is standing here to fight. Anyways, go and start the war. Thus I went back, and both of us started showering arrows at each other. I hurled the weapons at him, and he did the same. Sometimes he was on the ground, and sometimes I was on the ground. And both of us were severely wounded. This type of war ran for 23 days. In between this war, one day, all the Gandharvas, the Kinnaras, the gods, and my mother, they stood between us. Ki, O Bhishma, O Parshuram, stop this war. Both of you are invincible. You are not supposed to slay each other. Stop. But we didn't listen. We went on. And even once Parshuram hurled a weapon at me by which I fell down from my chariot. When I became unconscious, suddenly I saw 8 beautiful, brilliant Brahmans. They surrounded me and they just pulling me on the tip of the arrows, and they said, "Fear not, get up, fear not." And I was surprised. And when I looked at my chariot, I saw my mother was sitting there, my mother Ganga. Then again I managed somehow and came to my chariot and began to fight. A fearful fight between us once again started. Then one day, even within this battle, one day Naradji came and said, "Oh Bhishma, stop this war. You should not fight with your preceptor." And even to Lord Parshuram, his father, his grandmother, they came to and said, "Ki, oh Parshuram, you are a Brahmin. Your attributes are to go through the scriptures and Vedas. Do not fight like a Kshatriya. That only for the fight, battle, war, these are for the Kshatriyas. For some reason, you made this, killed all these Kshatriyas for 21 times. That was for a reason, but now stop it. Digest it. And Bhishma is invincible. You cannot slay him." Thus, my mother in my side and Naradji and his Lord Parshuram's ancestors on his side, they both stopped us. At last, one time, once again I saw these 8 brilliant Brahmins. They surrounded me on the last day. And they told me, ki, "Oh Bhishma, listen, Lord Parshuram is invincible. You cannot slay him, nor you can win over him with all these ordinary weapons. Now use this praswapa. This one is the weapon by which you can do some wonder." When they gave me this praswapa, immediately I recollected the mantras of that weapon. They reminded me that you are one of the Vasus. This weapon is known to you in your previous life. Use it. When I recollected the mantras and I was going to use that weapon, that time Naradji and my mother, they both came in between me and Parshuram. Then they say, Naradji told me, "Oh Bhishma, do not do this. Listen to me. This one is not the weapon you should use." And not only that, the weapons we used, for that all the creatures were terrified. And the Mother Earth, the mountains, the rivers, the forests, they started trembling. Now these 8 Brahmins also said, "Oh Bhishma, whatever Naradji is telling, accept that. Stop. It is over. Once you have, even if you could make Lord Parshuram unconscious, that is equal to death. So do not fight anymore, because none of you can slay to each other. And oh Bhishma, listen, whatever it is, he is a Brahmin. Do not do that sinful act." At that time, his ancestors also told to Parshuram, "Oh Parshuram, Bhishma can only be slain by the person who has taken rigid vow and had performed hard austerities. That is no one but Sabyasachi," means Arjun. "So you cannot slay Bhishma. Better both of you should stop the war." Thus, they requested us to leave our weapons and stop the war. But I told my mother and the other lords, that being a Kshatriya, I cannot turn my face from the battlefield. And Parshuram also told the same thing, since I am on the battlefield, I cannot turn my face from the battlefield. Somehow, since Parshuram became unconscious at a moment, that time his ancestors requested him, well, now you can keep aside your weapon. Thus Parshuram, seeing Parshuram's weapons aside, I also agreed to keep my weapons. Thus the battle was stopped, and Amba, out of anger, she became furious, and out of anger she told Parshuram, O Lord, I have seen the war between both of you, and both of you are invincible. I know that Bhishma cannot be slain by anyone. Well, I will be the cause of his death. Now I am going, and I will do the hard austerities, and I want revenge. I want to slay Bhishma. Thus, repeating these words and with crying, she left the battlefield. O Duryodhan, and what Amba did next, that I will tell you tomorrow. This much is the first story, first part of this war between Lord Parshuram and Pitamaha Bhishma. The second part, what Amba did, that I will tell you in the next episode. Thank you so much.